What's up, everybody? Welcome to Are You Down with LPT, the podcast where agents like you share their stories, experiences, and insights to help each other level up and thrive. In every episode, we're diving deep into the real-life challenges, wins, and lessons from the front lines. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just getting started, this is the place to connect, learn, and grow together. So, if you're ready to get down with LPT and take your game to the next level, let's jump in. I'm Kyle Clarkson, and this is Are You Down with LPT? And today I'm with Nique Worthington. Nique, how you doing?
Doing good, thank you. How are you guys?
I'm doing good. Appreciate you joining us today, and want to talk a little bit about your story, and appreciate you being open and willing to kind of share it. I heard bits and pieces of it, and definitely think it's powerful and really a good teaching, I think, tool as well for people maybe in a similar situation. So thanks for being open and willing to share it. So I want to start there, just kind of your story a little bit, as a single mom, home buyer, and maybe just kind of talk us through what was going on at that time in your life.
Yeah, at that time, obviously I was a single mom, and I had been renting in Ankeny for a few months. I was just scrolling Zillow like a lot of people tend to do, right? Just dreaming. And, it kind of clicked in my head, what if I didn't sign my lease again? What would that look like?
Yeah.
I was seeing Josh, my now fiance at the time, and I kind of ran the idea by him, and he's like, yeah, if you want to do that, I think you could do it. And that was kind of my, okay, well, maybe I'll explore this a little bit more. Yeah. I had previously owned a house before, and I just loved not sharing walls with other people. I loved that independence, that I can do whatever I want to my walls, to my floors, to my bathroom. And most importantly, I loved that I had something I could call my own, that Emma could grow up in, my daughter. So it was just all of those aspects kind of drove me to really explore it a little bit further.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of fear, anxiety for anybody, first-time home buyer, or anybody going through the process, but probably even more as a single mom, providing for your daughter, fears, doubts going through your mind at all during that time?
Oh, gosh, yeah. About every other day I was questioning, am I crazy? Can I do this?
And sometimes people are, but you got to take that step, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And that was kind of what it boiled down to, is this might be crazy, but this is something that I got to do.
Yeah.
Once it became something that I could actually see, something that was possible to me, I was like, not giving this up. I gotta start putting money towards something that I own, and not throwing it towards a property management company.
Yep. So you kind of had the thought, the dream, all of that good stuff, and then that's good. I think that's where everything starts. The idea and the dream, but then you probably have to take certain steps. We're in real estate, we kind of know this, but at the time you were not, right? This pre-real estate.
Yep.
What steps did you take to kind of start that process?
Yeah. Well, the big thing was I really had to get my finances in order and more serious about them. I was following a budget pretty loosely. I knew I had extra money, and that's my downfall, is that credit. I did debit card swipe, didn't realize how much I was swiping that card until I took a look at my statements. I was like, I go to Target entirely too much.
Is that a problem?
Oh, not anymore, but it was. Target, just you go there and it tells you what you need.
Yeah, that's right.
That is exactly how I used to Target. So once I saw, how much I was spending unnecessarily, that became priority number one to change. Was no swiping the card, unless it was for things that you really needed for now, right? Because everything extra I was putting towards a little bit of extra credit card debt that I knew would help me, would be beneficial to have it paid down as much as I could. And then saving, putting money away for the hidden costs of home ownership and all that fun stuff that I knew I was about to get myself into.
Yeah. So you buy a house, process, but maybe take us to closing and what that felt like. Keys in hand, ready to move in.
I felt on top of the world, Kyle.
Yeah.
In fact, I felt like I was Superwoman. I felt like I was invincible. I had done it. I did the big, scary thing, and I did it by myself. And I think that piece specifically, I mean, I was the second person in my family on my dad's side to buy a house, but the only one to be able to do it with just just my income. So I just felt like I had accomplished so much, not just for me, but for Emma too.
Yeah.
She was going to have somewhere where she could grow for years and grow into, and somewhere just very stable. That was just being able to know that I did that, keys in hand, and it was mine. It's the best feeling.
I love this. I mean, for a couple parts, I love this for you. I think it's an amazing story, but I love what it can mean for you working with other people. I think oftentimes, you've been doing this 5 years now. You've been in real estate 5 years.
Almost 5 years.
It's easy at some point to start going through the motions, and I'm showing another house, and I'm meeting another client, and it's easy just to kind of go through those motions and need to be reminded, like, of your experience, right, and how you felt at the end. I had closing last week, and these guys had moved to the U.S. a year ago. He'd worked so hard to get in a position to buy a house. And he showed up at closing, I mean, just dressed like he was going to the Kentucky Derby and looked so good, had his hat on, and the excitement they had, he wanted to take a picture with everybody. Like, took a picture with me, took a picture with the lender, took a picture with the attorney that was there.
I love it.
Everybody. And I need those moments to be reminded, like, okay, this is just not another deal. Like, this to people, this is one of the biggest things they're going to do in life, right? And so I love that for you. I love you wanting to tell the story, share the story, you being able to sympathize and empathize with people going through that situation in their own life. I think that's a powerful tool as you are working with clients. You mentioned your daughter there. Maybe what did that feel like for you in that moment, as a mom and her as a daughter?
Yeah, it was a pretty powerful feeling. It was just this sense of security that I truly did not actually have growing up. My dad rented until he was 50 was when he first bought his house, or bought his first house. And so being able to provide her that security, and she doesn't even know it, to me, healed a little bit of me from my childhood. It was a really powerful feeling, knowing that she's going to be able to grow up in one place and keep the friends around her, and be able to grow with them and just see all of that. It is really beautiful.
Yeah, It's a beautiful story. I think a story, you've been talking about sharing and want to share more. Why do you think telling that story matters in this business?
I didn't know how many people were like me. I didn't realize that I wasn't alone in that. In that feeling of being scared or overwhelmed, unsure, a little crazy.
Yeah.
So I just realized that if sharing my story helps even one person overcome that fear and then make that dream a reality, it's worth it, right? Just one person. And I'm lucky enough that I already have helped a single mom be able to buy a townhouse for her and her daughter. But yeah, I think it's so important to let other people know that they're not alone, that it is possible, that it's so attainable, and then how, and educate them on that, because that's the big thing, right? People think, okay, you can tell me all day long it's possible to do, but then how do you do it?
Yeah, teach me and show me.
Yeah.
I think you're going to continue to run into people. I think that's just kind of how things happen. When you've got your story and then people hear that story, I think people are going to be, attracted to it and see someone who's accomplished and done something that they want to. And there's probably all kinds of people out there that are like you when you started, right? And you were scared to do it and you were nervous, didn't know what to do. And I'm hoping, and I'm sure we'll see many people connect with you just because of that. So excited for that. So you've been in real estate 5 years now, been on this journey a little bit. What brought you into real estate initially?
Yeah, that's a good question. It was 2020.
Oh boy. Right in the thick of it.
And
so right after COVID? Is this right after COVID?
It was right
in the process?
It was actually right before COVID happened.
All right.
I give myself that credit. COVID didn't make me do it, but it gave me the opportunity.
Yeah.
I was just not happy in my position.
What were you doing before?
I was working as a collector at a local credit union.
Oh boy, yeah.
So it was a lot of fun. There was just all of the negativity that comes with that had begun wearing on me. So I texted my realtor that helped me buy my house in Ankeny. Shout out Ben Engelman. And I asked if he knew anybody that was hiring. In Ames, in Ankeny, in the Des Moines Metro. I was willing to drive. And he got me connected with another agent in the Des Moines Metro who became my mentor for a little bit and showed me how to get into real estate. Showed me, that it was possible. Basically laid it out of how many houses I had to sell just to replace my income. And it sounded really great. I wanted to work for myself. I wanted to be able to set my hours and have the flexibility to be with my daughter more. And so right before the pandemic hit is when I started getting my license and started the classes. And then I started working from home, and that was crazy.
Yeah.
So that kind of streamlined it. I was like, I got to get this faster.
Yeah, right.
I got to get out of here.
So that was probably a good and bad time to get your license. Good time from you're getting in at the craziest time in real estate ever, as far as the amount of sales and activity and all that stuff. So great time to jump in, but then it's like all hands on deck, right? So Tell me about those early days in real estate, what that looked like for you.
Oh, those were some crazy, crazy days. So I was, everybody learns as they go, but I was learning in a fast-paced kind of way. I got my first client about 2 months into being licensed. Found them on Facebook. That was really cool.
Oh.
And
were you marketing on Facebook or just connected in another way?
I was marketing on Facebook. They had posted on a group that they were looking for a realtor. And even though
there was hundreds on there,
hundreds of people flocked to them, they responded to my message.
Oh.
So that's when I learned early on, don't just comment, send the message, be genuine. So I met them, only a couple months into being licensed before I had all my systems set up and everything. So I was learning as I went. I was, showing homes during the day or doing open houses during the day and networking at night, trying to build partnerships with other people in the industry, other agents, other lenders, inspectors, just anybody that I felt like was going to be a part of the transaction that I needed to learn from. So on the home front, it was a lot of being gone and trying to juggle that. And I'm just really grateful for Josh because he really stepped in and was there, was able to take off my plate what I couldn't handle anymore. And
we don't work normal hours, right?
No.
So no more 8 to 5 and nice weekends all come into play. Any, you think about those early days, any key turning points or breakthroughs that you had?
Yeah. Well, my first big breakthrough obviously was my first closing, right? It was that realization that I can do this.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm doing it. I'm being a realtor. I'm building a business. That was kind of me really believing in myself a little bit more. I proved it to myself that I could do at least one.
Yep.
So I was like, oh, this is going to be
Once you do one, you know you can do it, right?
exactly right. Another key turning point was probably when I joined Remax Precision. I got a lot of good training and just on how to operate as a business rather than just kind of
A hobby.
yeah, and rather than just a hobby or a part-time job,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Making everything work, putting processes in place, streamlining things so that way every new listing things went the exact as the other one.
Yep.
And I was just being consistent in everything. And once that consistency started, things got easier.
Yeah, I think that gets lost on a lot of people. It's true for my career. Get in, you learn some sales skills, learn how to fill out a purchase agreement, all that stuff. But for me, it wasn't. I was much farther in my business than you were, where I had the right people I connected with that taught me the business part. Like, it's not just about selling. Selling's part of what we do, and we need sales skills and all that. But this is a business. You treat it like a business is, need to have processes in place. I think it's tough to truly grow in your business until you understand that it is exactly that, and you have those processes in place. So I loved hearing that. Challenges as you think about whether it's challenges you faced early on or still today that you're continuing to work on.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge I'm having, or I had and I've been working on, is still that work-life balance.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah. Especially as the kid gets older and the activities really start to come into play, sports and whatnot. It's a juggle, but having a partner helps a lot. Being on an amazing team is even better. I've got 20 other agents that
jump in and
help if I need to, and so those things have definitely helped a lot. It's been a lot of trying to set more boundaries around my time and my hours worked as well.
Yeah, that's key. I still run around all over the place, but like my kids' events are like probably the most important thing for me.
Right.
And my son playing basketball, and he had 2 games Saturday and 2 Sunday, and I'm not gonna miss them. And if that means I've got to find somebody else to help, or I just move things around, I'm going to do it. My daughter's golfing right now, and it is a season, and you're going to be in that season for a little bit longer here, but that really I believe needs to be a priority and kind of work around. Like those are in my calendar, those are my big blocks.
Absolutely.
And their appointments, and I'm going to work around them and build my calendar around them.
Agreed.
So if you figure out that work-life balance, I think we could talk a lot more about that because it's a process.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah. And it's an ever-evolving process.
Yeah, and I don't know if you're ever going to have balance, but it's trying to find some sort of center that makes sense, and everybody, it looks a little different for everybody. But.
For sure.
So looking ahead, because 5 years is a long time, but I've been doing it 22 years, I think. So 5 years is not a long time. What's next as you think about goals for growth, or I think you do a good job of building your brand, and want to continue to do that, giving back, etc. What's it look like for you?
Yeah, I'm really just continuing to focus on building a brand that empowers and educates, especially single parents and first-time home buyers. I have a very soft spot in my heart for those individuals. So I want to keep building and growing my business, of course, and I just also want to pour into others a little bit more. Now that I have the ability and the knowledge, I'm going to really pour into creating more content that circles around breaking things down in a non-intimidating way, bite-sized pieces, so that people can get that information, digest it, and feel confident that, they are going to know what's going to happen when they're ready to start looking at buying a house or selling.
And you're kind of doing that right now. I mean, I think you've done a couple of videos now talking about your experience as a single mom buying a house. I would encourage you guys, if you don't follow Nique on Instagram, Facebook, that you jump on there and you can kind of see some of the things she's doing, hear her story a little bit, but appreciate you being open and honest on that stuff. What would you say to someone who is where you were, or single, scared, unsure of that home buyer, that it is possible?
Yeah, I would say I see you. I was you.
Yeah.
And I'm just here to tell you that, it is possible. It's okay to be scared. That really just means that you care, that you have a hope and a dream that you want to attain. Just don't count yourself out before doing research and exploring your options. Talking to somebody to see what it looks like if now isn't the time. Because it's never a no. It's just a not now. But you're more capable than you think, and you're not alone.
I love that advice, and I want to turn it a little bit. So the great advice for, people out there thinking about buying a house in a position where you were. I love how you connect with people. And when you think about our agents, as you talk to agents about connecting with their clients on a deeper level, because we want to do that. We have to sell houses because we have to make a living. Right. But we're in a business, not many businesses are like this, where we can have the kind of impact on people's lives that you're talking about. And we want that. And I think that makes this job and industry so fulfilling. And so talk to our agents out here. Like, what does it look like to connect on a deeper level?
Yeah, absolutely. You want to be and remember that you are a human first. We're all human. We all have emotion, and we all have that same deep-rooted feeling of nobody wants to be sold anything. So be human first, and come from a place of friendliness and just wanting to help rather than wanting to sell. People don't need a perfect sales pitch. They need somebody who's going to listen, who cares, and most importantly, who shows up. So everybody has a story, and I encourage you to share that, even if it feels messy, because it's gonna. I mean, I've done many takes on my videos that I have posted. It feels messy, but do it anyways, because that's the way that you build trust, and that's what makes you memorable and relatable to the people that you're wanting to work with.
Yeah, I love that. I love you sharing your story, being open about it. And the reality is, we're nervous about sharing our story sometimes and maybe the struggles we've had, but many people are going through those same struggles, right?
Absolutely.
And I think hearing a voice from someone who has, not that we've conquered it, but that you've been through it, and you came out the other side. I think that's a powerful story. So thank you for sharing it.
Thank you.
Few questions here. I want to wrap up just so people can get to know you. Quick hitters here. What's your go-to? If we're gonna coffee in the morning, get you going so you can start your day. What's that? Or favorite drink? Maybe it's not coffee. I don't know.
I don't get them often.
Yeah.
I don't drink coffee, but I do love a good Nightshade Energy from 7 Brew.
So you don't drink those often? You don't drink coffee often?
I don't drink coffee at all, but
an energy drink in the morning?
I'll get an energy drink for myself in the morning,
Yeah. Do you work out in the morning, or you do that some other time of the day?
3 days a week. I'm up at 4:30 to go to the gym.
Yeah, so 3 days a week. I mean, you've got that routine down.
Yep.
We were talking to Sean Mackey earlier, and he's the same way. Up early, routine. I think that's so important. I think it gives energy for the day. It gives routine to your schedule.
And the
so I love
pre-workout
that.
helps.
Yeah. Any song that you get if you're feeling down or want to be in a good mood?
Anything Rihanna.
Okay, all right.
Rihanna. Sorry, that is the wrong way to pronounce her name.
Oh, okay. Wow, you had me. So
anything her. She hasn't had anything new come out in a while, but I still love just all of her music. Yeah, going back.
Guilty pleasure show or movie you could watch and repeat?
Friends.
Oh, really?
Always Friends.
Mine's The Office. I've never watched Friends through entirety, but
Okay.
I'm sorry, maybe I shouldn't admit that. Someday I'll get there.
Okay. Well, you've seen some episodes.
I've seen
people
some.
who don't watch it, I'm like,
Yeah.
how? It's such a good show.
Yeah. I didn't, yes. I like The Office, and
The Office is good.
I'd probably get through that at least once a year.
Yeah.
Because I find that I'm addicted to that. And so people want to connect with you. We talked about some of your videos you're doing on social media right now. I encourage people to jump on there and follow Nique. But where else could they find you?
Obviously I'm on Facebook and Instagram online. I do have a TikTok, so you can find me on TikTok as well. But
do you dance on top of real estate?
I do
'Cause
not
You did
dance.
dance earlier in your life, right? I thought Jenna knew you from
gymnastics.
gymnastics.
Yes.
Oh, it wasn't dance.
Not
All right.
dance.
Okay.
I don't dance.
Well, Alyssa dance. So if you want TikToks with dancing, you
All
can
right.
probably find.
There we go. I'll reach out to Alyssa
Okay,
and we'll
find
do
her.
something.
Yeah.
But mainly, you can connect with me through text or email, especially if you're just somebody looking or thinking about buying or selling or getting into real estate. If you're thinking about wanting to do that, I'd love to get coffee and talk to you. But Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, main ones that I'm on.
Yeah, that's great. I would encourage you to follow her. If you're thinking about buying a house, Nique's a great resource for that. She talked about first-time home buyers or people who have been in their position, but probably anybody you'd be open to chatting with. So
Absolutely.
she's a great resource. Nique, thank you for taking time and sharing your story with us, and we look forward to doing this again.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
That's a wrap for today's episode of Are You Down with LPT? Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you get some valuable takeaways to apply to your journey. New episodes drop every Friday, so make sure to subscribe so you never miss out. And hey, if you have your own story you'd like to share or questions you'd like to dive into, hit us up. Until next time, stay down with LPT and keep leveling up. Catch you in the next one.